Welcome back to Gems with Genesis Amaris Kemp. With me today is Chad Smith. And here's a little bit about Chad. Chad is the battle warrior. Chad works nonstop to help educate people on how to achieve a warrior life. Chad is a recovered addict from both alcohol and pornography, currently 600 days plus sober. Chad grew up in and around addictions ranging from alcohol, painkillers, and pornography. Chad is using his past to educate people about life as an addict, life after an addiction, and living daily life in an alcohol driven society. Chad is the owner of the Battle Warrior brands. He's a member at both Life Church Green Bay and Community Church Oshkosh. Chad is an active member and mentor for the Venture Project, a small business co working community in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Chad received Sir Clyde Rivers Youth Empowerment Leadership Award for his youth empowerment throughout the world. Chad is a born again Christian that is super passionate about addiction, camping, cars, hunting, horsepower, farming, fishing, running, working out, and sobriety living. And without further ado, let's welcome the hidden gem, Chad Smith.
I'm the hidden gem, guys. No, all seriousness. What are we? 2 computers down, couple records, restops, records. So we are having a blast, guys. This is going to be a phenomenal message. Like we were joking around and saying, it's usually when you get a little hiccups like this at the beginning, we tend to come out squeaky smile, squeaky clean on the other side. So we are having a blast. I'm in not upper Wisconsin. I'm in Wisconsin, and same time, same place, same everything. But what we're going to be talking about, guys, is a new saying that I developed lately. It's called "rev up your life," and I have 2 different analogies or whatever it is. So I'm a huge car nut. I love my horsepower, and 2 things I talk about, especially to achieve a big warrior lifestyle, is MPGs and RPMs. So some of you car lovers understand the RPMs means go fast, and MPGs means quality of gas you have in the engine to make you go fast. So for me, it's for the RPMs, guys, it's all about rebuild yourself, perform flawlessly, and motivate people going forward. And to kind of spin it the opposite way, guys, with the MPGs, it's all about looking at yourself personally. So it's like personal. Okay, so I have to fix my mindset, which is M. The biggest thing with the healthy mindset is fixing your perception from the people around you. That's the P, and writing all the goals down to achieve a warrior lifestyle.
And then we're going to dive deeper on how he's using these methodologies to help activate your inner warrior, because we all know that if we don't really tap into who we are internally, then how are we going to exhibit it externally? So you must look within yourself so you could be whole, well, complete, and all the things. And that comes from self-care, self-awareness, self-actualization, and most importantly, our source, which is God, Alpha and Omega. And without having God, we wouldn't be the people that we are today. And Chad has overcame a lot of trials and tribulations in his life, but it's those trials and tribulations that put him to the test, where the test is now his testimony. So, Chad, let's talk about what was it like going through addiction and what helped you overcome the addiction?
What was it like going through the addiction? To be completely honest, when you're in the upper Midwest, and I'm going to answer it this way because it's such a culture up here that at times you really don't know it's an addiction. So like you get raised up with families going out to eat, Friday night. We call it the Friday night fish or the happy hour times. So like, and I'm gonna use, my childhood for example. So Thursday nights were a lot of happy hours in the area. So like the, family members, friends, or whatever would leave work at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, go right to the bars, and there's a 2-for-1s usually for, 2, 3, 4 hours. So here you're out at the bars, and I'm what, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. So like this culture we grow up in, it's more of like a community culture. So it sounds really sad to say it this way, but when you're involved with alcohol like that, for sure, growing up from day one, you really don't know it's an addiction till the end, where you're reliant on it. You're grabbing that bottle. For me, honestly, it was a few life events that kind of caused the tipping point. So like, you're crawling through, like for me, I started drinking where I remember where I was 11, 12 years old. Every week
Wow.
grabbing mixers, kind of going, camping with the family, having mixers without. And like I said, I have a 24-ounce shaker bottle here. It'd be 12 ounces of alcohol with no ice in it, with soda, usually Pepsi and whiskey. And we can talk in depth exactly what it was. That was the starting point, and we call it the grandpa drink. So like, I grew up watching grandpa doing that. So 11, 12, 13 years old, hey, go make a grandpa drink. Here, all of a sudden, you don't know the repercussions of drinking that much whiskey. And I would have 2, 3, 4 of those a night.
Wow. And then it was just a cycle that was just a continued cycle because that was a product of your environment at the time. So seeing your parents, your grandparents, and those who were around you live that lifestyle, and then you coming to terms that, okay, this lifestyle is not conducive. What age were you when you decided that, hey, I no longer want to be a part of this lifestyle? I need to change my life because I just don't like where I'm going and where I'm headed.
So when I break it down to people, when it comes to like the pornography and the alcohol, so I'm 35 years old, and the majority of my life I've had, issues with it. So like 20, I'm going to say 20 years plus. So like, that's half my life for sure. And when it comes to like 9 years old of seeing, the Playboys on the wall, having your family, and you're my age, a little bit older. So like some of the Caddyshack videos and stuff back in the day that would contain it. So like the SNL stuff, like the original Bill Murray, all that whole, allotment. And I'm not using Bill Murray, but anyone that's in that group understands the Animal House, the Caddyshacks, the Porkies, the comedy movies that push the boundaries on that stuff. So but no, so that stuff, I got raised up, yeah, 8, 9 years old, and dad loved that lifestyle. So like, you'd see that. um and then go to college and still try to maintain that lifestyle. So obviously I'm in Wisconsin, and people, I'm gonna say down south, but in Texas they know that too. So never have a Wisconsin person in a drinking contest down south, because it's just how we are up here. And I'm gonna say how we are, but just how we are. But yeah, like I said, I'm currently 35 now, and it took me to honestly get through a terrible marriage, and then multiple scriptures of be vigilant, be sober. Don't quote me on which one it is. I think it's Matthew, but it's been in it multiple times. So I know what he's done for me, and I go to church a lot, but like the memorizing scripture and stuff, I'm not quite there yet. That's a work in progress.
And that's okay because I tell people I am a work in progress too, a WIP. And, there's some days where I'm all the way there. And then there's some days where I may slide and backfall because we are human. So there may be a word that comes out of my mouth that is not conducive. And after it's out of my mouth, I'm like, oh my gosh, I had a faux pas or I had a word vomit. And now I really have to censor what I say, especially not just for me, but also because I spend a lot of times with my nieces and nephews, and kids are like a sponge and they absorb everything. So there has been incidents where my brother's like, hey, you're using that word too loosely. And then I was like, oh, and then it was like my realization to like help me work on what I was doing. And sometimes you have to ask yourself, well, why do I do what I do? And am I doing it for myself, or am I doing it to fit in, to be really seen and heard? But then on the other side, whenever you're born again, you're like, I don't need to do things for man or woman, but I need to do things that are pleasing to God. So what age did you recommit your life to Christ, and how did you feel in that moment when you just kind of surrender it all and just say, Jesus, Lord, come in and take over my life, not my will, but your will be done? Or what was your experience to being born again?
So I don't remember which exact day it was sitting in church, which was the Life Church at the time. I think that was like in November 2000. So it's almost 2 years now, because I got baptized early August, not this year, but the year before. And the reason for the delay, guys, is I started taking alpha class during the winter, but obviously, America had a C word that showed up that spring and blocked a lot of things. So like we had 4 or 5 months of what happened is I went to church, obviously, gave my life over to him, and then I wanted to get baptized in the next couple months later, but obviously we had a blocker that blocked a lot of baptisms, and so that delayed me. But my baptism, I think, was like August 10th, 11th, 12th, somewhere in there. The moment when you're sitting in church, it feels the same feeling, actually feels the same way too when you're baptized. It's just like a relief's gone. It's like a tingling effect. It's very tough to say it this way. Some people bawl their eyes out. Some people just kind of fall in like they're falling in like a beanbag. And for me, it was more like the beanbag, where it just, oof, like the air came out, and tingling effect. It felt, honestly, like a sense of peace. It's
Wow.
it's tough to explain it now, because like I still had these battles each day, and to be honest, like with people, you experience it, I experience it. Like some people get saved and boom, they're like right up there right away. And then some people get saved and boom, they become slow burners, and they just learn the process and go through it and start seeing the signals, start seeing the spirit, all that stuff. I'm gonna classify myself as that. Like I would see certain things where he's talking to us in scripture, and then it takes a few times for my brain to be like, okay, hey, something's happening here. So finally, though, like the further along into the walk I went, in the classes I took and all that stuff, and it became more emotional versus logical.
I like I like the way you explained it that way, and your beanbag analogy. It's like you're falling forward, but then in that fall, you're releasing all the baggage, all the boundaries, all the strongholds, the generational curses, and all the things that are not conducive to your newness is just falling off. And it's almost like when you were talking, I heard the song by Mary Mary. It's like, take the shackles off my feet so I could dance. And it's like, I just want to praise him, because whenever you go through so much stuff in life and it's so hard, it's like the worldly stuff, the alcohol, pornography, and all the other things that was mentioned in your bio. It's like those things are constantly weighing you down. And if you think about it in the sense of an aircraft, whenever you're flying and you're going through TSA and they're getting ready to, after TSA, you go through a baggage check, and then they ask you to put your bags on the scale, your suitcase, right? And they say, oh, let me see how much your bag weighs, whether it's 40 or 50 pounds. And if your bag is overweight, they tell you, hey, you need to either take out some stuff out of your suitcase, or you need to pay for an extra set of luggage. And that is because if the aircraft is carrying too much cargo, it's going to weigh the plane down, and the plane will not be able to cruise to higher elevation and altitudes. So it's almost like us as human beings. If we are weighed down by so much nonsense, so much gunk, and so much worldly desires, we're not going to be able to really be free, whole, and complete the way that God wants us to be, because we have so many things on us. And you mentioned, coming out of a really bad marriage. Whenever you left and separated from that bad marriage, is that whenever you started to feel the activation of your inner warrior, or when did you tap into the activation of your inner warriors, to MPGs to RPMs?
All right. So the little secret, Chad actually means warrior.
Oh, okay.
So when actually, so in the English terms, Chad is battle or it's warrior, depends on how you translate it. So technically the term, I blended it together for the term. When I finally activated everything and started looking from the outside in, was actually about 6 months ago. And the reason for, I'm going to explain it this way. Yes, I've been sober for about almost 2 years. What happens when you go through these stuff is just like going through journey. I'm gonna use classes at Life Church, but like journey to wholeness, alpha classes, all this stuff. The further along is you actually strip yourself down and figure out how to relive again and strip yourself back and build yourself back up. So like for me, getting sober was like my main focus. So I wanted to hit the 1 year no matter what. So like for me, I was super cautious for that first year, because it's like, okay, I took everything away and now I focused on my mindset. I focused on my health. I focused on everything I need to do to put good gas in. And we're going to go on the car terms here, but like premium gas went in me. So it's like I did whatever I needed to do to get premium gas in me. Yes, I love my diesel, but we're going to just keep it gas here. So like that first year is such growth that you really find yourself again. And rolling into it, it took me till August last year. So like August 6th through the 10th, whatever, I went to Colorado, and I went up to the mountains. They call it the Continental Divide, but you walk up to the top and you see both sides. So like one side's Atlantic, one side's Pacific, and you look and it just kind of splits it. That was the life that said, okay, I'm doing this. And through the whole process of going through where we're going with like the podcast, the speaking and all that stuff, I didn't really click. So like, just like everyone in business, you can come up with an idea and all of a sudden it just clicks and it just blends. My blend came 2 months ago, where give or take this spring, I'm like, okay, something's off here. It's like my message, me internally, is not mixing with what I'm presenting. Like I'm presenting a great leader and all that stuff, but something is off, because it's just the message is kind of just tweaked a bit. So like I tweaked it together, and all of a sudden it's like, now with Battle Warrior, okay, here's my energy, come and put it in. Here's my inner strength coming in. Here's what I needed to do to fix myself coming in. And you just open it up to where, like I said, the MPGs, first and foremost, I fixed my mindset. Because if you have an unhealthy mindset, you're not going to be surviving in this world, to be honest. Secondly, when you're being born again, you got to fight everyone that's going against you. So like, you got to change your perception, and you got to have a healthy mindset to change that perception. So like, you're going through and everyone's be like, why are you doing this? I miss the old person. What's going on? I don't understand it. You're going to have family against you. Like I clean slate, like literally clean slate with my friends. And the one that I thought that would be supportive actually took about a year and a quarter to finally come out saying that he wasn't supportive.
Wow. And it's funny that you say that. And when I say it's funny, I mean it's because it's ironic and it's true. Because sometimes when you're going through a new season in your life and a new chapter, the pages are turning, the leaves are changing, and etc. You're going from, being a caterpillar to blossoming into a butterfly, and people around you don't understand it because they got so comfortable with the way that you were. And even though they knew that the lifestyle you were in was not conducive to your overall well-being, mentally, physically, and emotionally, they appreciated where you were. But now that you're blossoming and spreading your wings so you could fly as a beautiful butterfly, they don't understand it because it hits different. And I'm big into music. So there's this one song by Star Ringo, and Star Ringo is a CHH artist, which is Christian hip hop artist. And the song came on and it's like hit different. And it's like sometimes things hit you different whenever you take the blinders off and you have a new vantage point and a new focal point. And those people who used to be riding for you are not going to be the same people that ride for you in this new season. It's because they're traveling on a different wavelength than you are. And it's no disrespect, discount, or discredit to those individuals. You just have to know whenever you're cruising up to new levels in your life, sometimes those people that were there can't go with you the rest of the journey. And that's why Jesus only had 12 disciples. Or some people who are baby Christians, or they're just starting out in the faith, I say Jesus had 12 homeboys. So if you're a girl, you have 12 homegirls. Like, know who your tribe is, and know who your roof terrors are. And when I say roof terrors, I think there's a passage in the Bible where there were some friends, and there were some friends in a group, and they had a friend in the group who was paralyzed, and they tried to get their paralyzed friend into the home, but the home was crowded. So they went up on the roof and tore a hole in and lowered their friend down in, because they wanted their friend to be healed and set free. So do you have those roof tears in your life, or do you have your A1s from day ones who see that you're broken and want you to remain broken, versus you taking the shackles off your feet and you being free so you could soar and rise above to the eagle that you are? And eagles don't always hang out with chickens.
Yeah, and when thing that we forgot here is we just went right and soared right away. You gotta have goals. So like we have to finish the MPG here, but like goals, like once your mind's good and your perception's good, you gotta know where you're going.
Clarity, yes. So what, okay, in what moment did you develop the MPG method and the RPM method? Like, where were you at when it dropped into your spirit? What did that look like, and how did you feel in that moment? Paint us a picture.
It's gonna sound actually okay. So like I'm gonna paint the moment here. So honestly, this is about 2 weeks fresh. And ideally she knows what happened a couple of weeks ago with some of the things. So like I was thinking at work, I'm like, okay, how do I just like all, I'm in a job that I punch in and punch out. It's in a manufacturing facility. My main goal there is to get paid and get out. And the reason why is I took a, we call it punch to the gut, and said, hey, I'm doing this because I want all my focus outside of work doing what I'm doing right now. So like for me, it was a less stress, go work your tail off type of position. Not to get too in depth here, but like I'm the receiving end off of 5 machines. So like I have an aisle where I walk up and down. The funny thing about this aisle is this is where all my ideas come from, because I've not a amount of time. I have like a minute to walk up and down. So like all of a sudden I get a aha and I write it down, and I get another aha and I write it down. Whatever it is with me is trying to replicate that energy. And people are like, okay, how did you go from like nothing to like high energy? So I'm like, I'm a car nut, dude. I love horsepower. I love going fast. I love stuff that's loud. Like I go down the road and sports car come ripping by and it's just talk. I'm gonna say talking, not like the, Porsche, not that, like a deep growl American hot rod type talk. And to me, I just get all wound up because my grandpa was a mechanic, my uncle was a mechanic. So like the older I'm getting, the more I'm appreciating just a good old fashioned gnarly dirty engine. And so for me, it's like everyone can relate to that. Everyone can relate to MPGs because we fill our cars up with gas or trucks or, semis, whatever it is. And everyone, when you jump in your car, you look at your speed, and next to it, you have your RPM. So like 3,000 in, your engine's going to shift, 3,500, you're going to go to the second gear, third gear, whatever it is. If it's not a semi, guys, we'll just pause on that one. Typical cars besides semis, when your automatic engine is going to switch if you've been in that car for so long. So for me, it's how do I relate it and how do I do it best? And for me, talking up on stage in car terms like a Tim Allen, that's how it is. And not to sound weird and quirky or how it is, but for me, the older I'm getting, the more simplify I made my life. Obviously, God's number one. And I had the boats, I had the trucks, I had the fishing tournaments, I had the fish and tackle, everything you name it. I have an SUV right now. The boat's completely gone. 90% of my fish and tackle sold. Some of it got stolen on accident from my buddy. Yes, I do have, some guns. I'm a hunter guy, so ease up with me. So like some bow hunting, some hunting stuff. Don't pounce on my back when I say it, because I grew up in upper Midwest. So but when it comes to that stuff, I run a very, very, very thin, very tight, very simple life. And the more I can just make the aha moments and make it simple, the more like to me, more you simplify your life, the more you can focus on exactly what you need to focus on. And for me, it's, obviously God, relationship with God. Secondly, it's how do I make myself phenomenal and use my warrior powers, like what we keep saying, because obviously I'm the battle warrior. So it's like, okay, how do you make yourself great? First of all, you got to take care of yourself. you got to put good gas in yourself, and you got to make sure your engine runs correctly. Those were the two where they came together. And then secondly, you turn around and you help someone else behind you, or your husband and wife, whatever, whatever you guys. I'm single, guys, so like for me, the gap is family after that. But
And there
that's my main thing.
And for you ladies listening out there, you just heard him. He dropped the S word. He said he's single, y'all. So if there's any women out there on a prowl that love Jesus and love some of the things that Chad does, hey, there may be a love connection via gems. But now that brings us down to our wind down period. Chad, are you ready to play a fun game to get to know more about Chad? No pressure.
Let it rip. Go ahead.
Okay. Favorite car?
Dodge Challenger with the V8, so it's the Hellcat.
Woo! Yes. 2, favorite color?
Black.
Black. Okay. 3, favorite food?
Good old fashioned gnarly steak on the grill.
Steak on the grill. Are you cooking it or is someone else cooking it?
No, I'm cooking it.
Okay. So
gotta have some little charcoal with some smoke next to it. So you gotta have a little bit of applewood up on top, and then you gotta throw some nice good old A1 on top.
Okay, A1, thick and hearty. So how do you like your steak? Do you like
Medium.
it? Okay.
Oh, no. Well, let's reword it this way. Restaurant medium. So I like it medium to a medium rare. But when you cook it, guys and girls that control the grill and the smokers, you kind of understand there's a little sweet spot. And when that sweet spot comes, I pull it off. So.
Okay, got it. 4, favorite movie?
Beavis and Butthead Do America.
5, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
Right now, my calling is Salt Lake City. Reason why is obviously, yes, there's a big, I'm a Christian, guys, but like for some odd reason, Salt Lake City has a very good faith-based industry, and yes, they are different type of Christianity, but whatever it is in my heart right now, Salt Lake City is on my.
Okay, Salt Lake City, Utah, different kind of Christianity. Not sure what you mean by that, but we'll definitely have to dive into that.
It's Mormon country.
Oh, okay. And then 6, favorite book?
Favorite book right now? I think my favorite book is the one that's in the hopper right now.
Okay. The one that's in the hopper right now. Okay. The Bible?
Well, that one too. Yes, Bible's number 1, but the one that's in the hopper and you guys, that's coming January. So.
Okay. See, he just put a little plug there. 7. Okay. Favorite place to relax and zone out?
Relax and zone out is actually I got 2 spots and it involves water. So like here there's a park south of town. It's on Lake Winnebago. If you get a good western like afternoon, the sun just beats on you and you can just sit there and watch the water go right by you. Second favorite spot is actually in Green Bay where I moved from, and there's a county park that you can just go sit right on the beach and kind of watch the sunset. So
nice. Oh, so serenity and water. Okay. 8, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Okay. 9, pizza or burgers?
Oof. Well, it depends. If I'm lifting, burgers. But in my mind, pizza all day.
Pizza all day. Okay, but if you're lifting burgers, because what are you trying to bulk up with the protein?
Yes.
Okay, got it. And then 10, bonus question. This is where you could ask me anything while we have 4 minutes remaining in the conversation.
What I can ask you? So you were a guest on my podcast. We'll just drop that one in there. It's called the Battle Warrior Podcast, and I'm not going to eavesdrop, but we were talking about corporate life and kind of your own journey, but we never got in depth of which facility you visit all the time down there. And I'm not going to say which, but like I have family down by you, and I know there's a very, very strong foundation in certain areas of big churches that get Gnarly. How
So
gnarly is that church?
it can be pretty gnarly. There are two mega churches that I've been to in Texas because when I go to Dallas, I visited the Potter's House, which is a big church with TD Jakes. I've been to Lakewood Church with Joel and Victoria Osteen. And I've also been to Oak Cliff, which is Tony Evans, Dr. Tony Evans' church, and his daughter is Priscilla Shire, who was the main character, one of the main characters in the movie War Room. And they could be really gnarly and fun. And I really like the music because the music, the praise and worship sounds like you're in a concert, and just the lights. And since we're still in the pandemic, my family and I have not been to church. So we do our church online. And with online church right now, we can watch different churches. And I like Stephen Furtick. I like Chad Beach, Carl Lentz, Real Talk Kim. She's phenomenal. She's funny. She's based out in Atlanta. She's this cool white chick with, she has a mohawk sometimes with big glasses and designer jewelry. Well, not designer jewelry, but like different jewelry. So yeah, that's just a little bit there. And does that answer your question?
Yeah, and there, I think there's one that we all know very, very well. It's Bishop. First initial might be T, and the last one might be Jakes.
Yeah, I've been to his church a few times. It's pretty cool. And before our timer runs out, Chad, I want you to close us out with giving us one or two gems, and then tell the listeners and viewers once again who you are.
All right, so here's a hidden gem, guys. So let's rev up your life so you can change your local culture today. So let's just say my personal sayings change the culture. Why? If you go into the Bibles, you understand there's a lot of people that changed their culture, and I didn't click till about a week or two how I said that. And secondly, guys, where you can find me on social media, we have at the Chad M. Smith, at the Battle Warrior Brands, and at the Battle Warrior Podcast, all on Instagram. We have the Facebook group Battle Warriors with an S. I need to get in that more. It's just time. So if you guys got any social media managers that's works super cheap for like maybe $5-10, hook me up.
And there you have it, listeners and viewers of Gems. Chad Smith here on Gems. It has been a pleasure, and all of his contact information will be in the show notes. So peace, love, and lots of blessings.